all is well wherever you are. Hope you're happy, safe, healthy. And if it's the first time I'm speaking to you in it, I hope that you are off to a great start here in this new year. Happy New Year from my family and I to you and yours. It is Sunday, January 4th, 2026. And at long last, finally, mercifully, the 2025 Dallas Cowboys season is over. One of the seasons in Dallas Cowboys history, certainly recent Dallas Cowboys franchise history, that was so incredibly frustrating. Let's fully set the stage. This is the post game here on the Blog on the Boys YouTube channel, where I am all the time. YouTube channel right now, the post-game show, along with the Bleacher Report app. Thanks to our friends at Bleacher Report who have been great partners this season and recent seasons, obviously, with our post-game show. You can watch it in either place. You can obviously watch it on demand in either place as well. But if you are on the Blog of the Boys side of things, please subscribe to the channel, and you can follow me on any level of social media. Links are in the description below, and the Houston Texans just won. That kind of caught my attention. What is this, a scoop and score here? Oh, no, it's all these laterals. That's what's going on here. But the Houston Texans winning, so at least one team in the state of Texas, that's the obvious joke. But so this is the post-game show. On Sunday, the 2025 Dallas Cowboys season came to a merciful end when the team who we all predicted to win and brag about finishing at 500 did what I think a lot of us, maybe even most of us, wanted them to do, was to lose the game. The Cowboys lost the game 34-17. I don't think anybody cares about the particulars of what happened. It was kind of a gross performance, kind of an embarrassing performance. There was an ejection, although you could certainly argue whether or not Donovan Ezraka was fully in the wrong. But the point is, it was hardly a clean way to tank for the Cowboys. There was nothing about 2025 that was clean for the Cowboys in terms of who they were as a football team. The season began with them dragging things out with Mike McCarthy, and then dragging out the hiring process, and then ultimately picking Brian Schottenheimer, and then earning and establishing some goodwill from people like us, the fan base, and then burning it all up with Micah Parsons the moment training camp began. And ever since then, ever since the Cowboys arrived at Oxnard, ever since the season began in earnest, there has been this cloud hanging over the team. There has been negativity and just toxicity that was generated by the Cowboys front office that for the second year in a row directly served to sabotage the on-field goals of the football team, not the franchise or the front office or their off-the-field business ventures, but the on-the-field product. And I think the saddest part about all of this is that, I'm going to speak for you for a second, I think we feel more relief than we do sadness that Dallas Cowboys football is over for some time. Dallas Cowboys football, something that we love and care about and really enjoy, or at least really have enjoyed in the past. But I think that we all feel more relief than sadness that it's over. It's just nice to not have this, like it has been since the Cowboys began training camp in Oxnard many months ago, hanging over our heads. We will all reach a point where we'll lie to ourselves and pretend that 2026 is going to be different the way we have in the past. But right now, it's nice to just not have to worry about it for some time. And it's a real bummer to feel that way about your favorite football team, which is what the Cowboys have done to us here in 2026. On YouTube, Sear says the only change that would fix this franchise is a new owner. Under the Jones family, it will never be a successful team. Andy says, can we please get a new defensive coordinator? I think that's coming, Andy, if I had to guess. Juan Duran says, literally what happened. Kenny says, pathetic effort all season. As a Cowboys fan since 1971, I'm disgusted and so sick and tired of Jerry Jones and his decisions. Sear says, the cloud has been over for 30 years. I totally get that. A Hulette on Bleacher Report says, Eberflus fired yet. Not seeing anything on social media about any of this, but here's the thing. Look, I say a lot that as of late it has been really hard to be a Dallas Cowboys fan, but that is objectively true. Now, maybe you're incredibly positive, and I'm certainly not knocking you if that's the case, but the Cowboys here in this 2025 season that they just wrapped up finished below 500. It was literally a losing record. I know that a lot of people, myself included, wanted them to tank and improve their draft position, so I'm not trying to talk out of both sides of my mouth, but we're trying to speak over the last 2 years from a macro perspective. The Cowboys finished below 500, so with a losing record in 2 straight seasons. That had not happened to the Dallas Cowboys franchise since 2000 through 2002. They actually finished 5-11 3 straight years. And so ever since then, there has been, I'm not bragging about who the Dallas Cowboys have been since 2003, to be very clear with you all, But ever since then, there has been some flicker of hope every other year, right? Even if the Cowboys have been down or bad or awful one year, they have always bounced back and roped us back in the very next year to some degree, even if it was just with a 500 record or a playoff appearance, a division title, something like that. Clearly not an NFC championship game. And so my point is, this is now long term. This is sustained grossness. This is sustained bad football. It has been over 600 days, 700 days since we have seen the Dallas Cowboys play like a team worth rooting for. It has been a bummer of a trek to kind of go through, and we're still out here. We're still in the wandering desert, wondering when things are going to change, wondering when it's just going to be, fair to even have that flicker of hope again. Who cares about, not who cares, but you get my point. Like, the idea of legitimately rooting for the team is so far in the future that we're not even talking about that point right now. We're just talking about what is the point where we can reach the bare minimum level where we can have that flicker of hope. It feels so far away. Obviously now it's officially the offseason, so it quite literally is far away. But my point is, it has been now a long established point of time that this has been one of the bottom teams in the NFL, which is why we all feel so down about them. On YouTube, Christopher says, I'm glad I haven't taken this team seriously for years now. I think a lot of people said that. Kenny says, we have not enjoyed this season at all. I'm just like, open-ended question here, and I'm genuinely curious to hear responses. Over these last 2 years, which have been losing football for the Cowboys from a literal and definition perspective, what did you enjoy, right? I think that, we can point to certain things, right? We can point to this season and say, oh, that 3-game winning streak was a lot of fun. And certainly the 21-point comeback against Philly and beating the Chiefs on Thanksgiving, that was objectively fun. In fact, it was subjectively fun. I think that we all, can agree with that. I don't know a point in 2024 that was fun. I would offer that it was quite literally a total and fully just, an entire year's worth of sludge. I suppose the crazy dramatic win at Pittsburgh with Dak Prescott hitting Jalen Tolbert and the lightning delay kind of made it more funny. That game was fun, but so what we're talking about here, there has been at most over the last 2 years now, one stretch of at least multiple weeks where it was enjoyable to be a Dallas Cowboys fan. That's a hard pill to swallow. That's a hard thing to put on your fans. And so if you're someone who says, I don't get why people feel this way, I don't think that those people exist. I'm not trying to have some sort of straw man argument here, but that's why. This is why, is because there is not anything. This is not fun. Something that is supposed to be, fun and enjoyable and interesting and captivating, you would hope, right, has just been a bore, has just been embarrassing, has just been frustrating. And that has been life for the Dallas Cowboys for the last 2 years at this point. On YouTube, Sear says, let me get a head start on the interviews. We like our guys and we have the prices in place. On Bleacher Report, D1 Royalty says the Giants are silly. It's a family show. Look, let's be straight up about this, right? I think the Dallas Cowboys looked kind of gross on Sunday against the Giants, but ultimately the goal was achieved. Ultimately, they lost. Now, at the time of this recording, we don't know exactly where their first round draft pick is going to be in 2026. It's either going to be 11th or 12th, but losing was objectively a good thing for the Cowboys on Sunday. The Giants winning was objectively a good thing for the Cowboys on Sunday. I think that the combination of events, Dallas losing and New York winning on Sunday, was the overall result that we wanted. Now, would it have been nice to see the Cowboys look somewhat functional, somewhat organized in the process, I suppose, but the end goal was reached, and I think that that's what matters the most. I in no way believe that this was orchestrated or premeditated from a Cowboys perspective. And if anything, and look, I understand it's difficult for the Cowboys to say certain things in press conferences. They can't come out and say that they're going to lose, but this is why when you say the things you say, you sound silly. When you say we want to go out there and we want to win this game and it's important to us to not have a losing record and blah, 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 blah. And then you go pull Dak Prescott as the second half is beginning and you're trailing 10-16. The things just look silly. Now, maybe you can square that they look silly if your overall end goal and end game is achieved. That's fine. And we can, process that logically, but it's why we roll our eyes when you say certain things. That's all we're saying. On YouTube, beat you up, says the draft won't do anything to fix this clown show. Not seeing anything, any quotes or anything yet, so we're all good on that note. Let's see, on Bleacher Report, Marcus Cherry says Blue looked good. How about this? I mean, look, Jaden Blue. I don't know what to think of the Jaden Blue experience for the Cowboys. Now, Jaden Blue and Phil Maffa each had their first career touchdowns on Sunday for the Dallas Cowboys, which was very exciting. And I think offers a point of discussion that we'll cling to for the months ahead. I think that we all feel pretty confident that the running back group should feature both of them, maybe not prominently, but at least to a significant degree. And at the very least, talking about the running back room in 2026, obviously, I think at the very least that the performances from Jaden Blue and Phil Maffa on Sunday, we're talking about a 1-game sample size here to be very clear here. I think at the very least, those performances provided data for conversations. Right now we can have conversations in the offseason. The conversations can range all over the place, right? Should the Cowboys bring back Javonte Williams? Should the Cowboys sign a different veteran in free agency? Should the Cowboys focus on just Jaden Blue or just Phil Maffa or some combination of Jaden Blue and Phil Maffa? Should Malik Davis be back, right? Like, of all the position groups on the Cowboys that I'm excited to have conversations about in the coming offseason, I think the running back is probably the most fun. I don't think there's a wrong way to go about that. If they want to bring back Javonte Williams, they want to do whatever. I mean, again, spin the wheel, choose your own adventure. I think that all choices have some semblance of merit to them. I'm not trying to overreact to a single game sample size from Jaden Blue and Phil Maffa, but it was nice. And it was nice to see in the middle of some other things that were happening around the Cowboys as a football team on Sunday in their loss to New York. On YouTube, Stephen Max says, what's going on, RJ? What's going on, Stephen? Hope your New Year is treating you well. Juan Duran says, Caleb Downs, you are Dallas Cowboy. We can only hope. On Bleacher Report, Easy says, Giants go from 2 to 7 in the draft. Not a good move. They are silly. Those New York Giants are. Making sure I do not finish or do not miss anything. Okay. So I think that we all think this, right? Like, we're adults. We can have the conversation here. I imagine that, the Cowboys are going to make a serious move or a serious move on the defensive side of the ball. There have been reports all over the place that they're going to make some changes, some adjustments, some amendments, however you want to term it, to their coaching staff. And it would stand to reason that defensive coordinator would be a logical place to start. The Cowboys allowed 500 points to be scored against them this season, which is just an absurd amount of points, and squandered an amazing season from Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens and Javonte Williams, on and on and on. I have no idea. I know we all want them to go after Brian Flores. That feels like the way to appease everyone. But I also think that we all don't believe that will happen, right? I think we all think that it would be foolish to believe the Cowboys are seriously going to go and pay the money, the financial, sort of variables involved here matter, right? I don't think that any of us have any faith that the Cowboys will pay money when they have to in the name of improving their football team, despite what they say in their radio appearances. And so it will be interesting. And I think that the seemingly inevitable defensive coordinator search will tell us a lot about what we can truly believe with regards to the 2026 Dallas Cowboys. If Brian Schottenheimer is allowed to ultimately, what a silly thing, let your head coach pick his defensive coordinator. But if he's allowed to do that, that will tell us something. Jones is just bring back another family friend. We've had 2 in a row now, obviously Mike Zimmer and Matt Eberflus. Or if they go and do pay a big time price tag, do go get Brian Flores. Again, examining all hypotheticals here. I think that that's the first thing. There are going to be several checkpoints this offseason that really tell us more than others what the 2026 Dallas Cowboys are going to look like and who their defensive coordinator is, even if it is bringing back Matt Eberflus, again, to explore all hypotheticals. That is going to give us a lot of information in and of itself. On YouTube, Shane says, I'd be satisfied if Javonte came back. He really impressed me this year. I think there's an argument for that. I don't think it's I wouldn't make that argument. I'm fine with the Cowboys moving on and wishing him well, but I also am very good if he wants to come back and they can work something out. On Bleach Report, FAFO 25 says, smart players play well. Why on 3rd and 3 are you playing? Okay. I mean, look, I just don't have the energy. I don't think anybody has the care to examine what happened in this game. I think we all understood that this game was a means to an end, not even a means to an end. This game was just about getting through, right? The season is over. It's been over for a while. This was the 3rd game in a row the Cowboys played mathematically eliminated from playoff contention. It was the 2nd in a row in which they had the whole week to prepare for it, just because they found out they were mathematically eliminated the night before the Chargers game. So, I mean, cool, like Devin Singletary, Jackson Dart. Like, I really do not have a lot of energy for the specifics of what happened on Sunday, and I don't think anybody really has any kind of interest in that. Those are my 2 cents, but somebody tell me if I'm wrong. Stephen Max says Donovan Wilson may not be back this season. Yeah, I think that, we have a list going out at bloggingtheboys.com shortly of all the free agents to be on the Dallas Cowboys roster. I think the Cowboys have a handful of really important decisions to make. Obviously, we would love to see the Cowboys get something done with Brandon Aubrey. If you, our team, bring Javonte Williams back, then that is obviously a high priority for you. I think that there are some differing opinions there, but ultimately, it's certainly there's a lot of logic and reason with regards to bringing Javonte back. I say all that though, and ultimately want to say that I think the highest level priority is bringing George Pickens back. That has to be just, I mean, that has to be taken care of immediately for me. I mean, for me to believe, for me to buy in, for me to be willing to lie to myself and to cope myself into believing certain things. If the Cowboys take care of George Pickens without having to place the franchise tag on him on March 3rd, then I will give them some props. I will give them some trust. I will give them some benefit of the doubt moving forward. But if they play this stupid dance, if they do this same set of stupid games with George Pickens and they place the tag on him and they call it a placeholder and they get to mid-July and they still don't have a deal, it will be more of the same, and it will only serve to feed all of the negative beliefs that we have, that they have created and lived up to many different times. So yeah, for me, priority number one, taking care of George Pickens. Aside from fixing your coaching staff and all this, again, we all understand and acknowledge that, but take care of George Pickens and maybe we will treat you like adults moving forward. Let's see here. Chris says Steele will be gone and Donovan Wilson. Yeah, I think that they'll make decisions there. I love this tweet from Mike Ducey, the great Mike Ducey, by the way, on Twitter right here. So this is Mike Ducey's tweet. I love it. Short of Dak getting hurt, it's hard to imagine a worse way for the Dallas Cowboys to close the season. Prescott plays, but the offense sputters. The defense is predictably awful. The few guys who seem to care lose their composure. A truly embarrassing finale. I don't think that that's unfair in any way, shape, or form. I mean, if you think about it, that's kind of been the case for the Cowboys for a little while now, right? I mean, they had their 3-game winning streak and we were willing to believe, we were willing to trust them. We were willing to kind of, wonder whether or not they were going to turn a corner. Remember all these conversations we were having about how they need to win so many games, the Eagles need to lose so many games. The Cowboys lost 4 of their final 5 games. I mean, they beat the Chiefs on Thanksgiving Day. They lost at Detroit. They got destroyed by Minnesota. They lost to the Chargers, obviously, the day after finding out they were mathematically eliminated. And they beat the Commanders. Cool. That was great on Christmas Day. We all had a good time. And then they lost to the Giants, which was pretty inconsequential and did improve their draft position. So my point is, like, the moment that we believed, the moment we said, okay, you just beat the Chiefs on Thanksgiving Day, you proved that we can trust you, they not only fell apart, they did it in the most embarrassing way possible. And it makes the idea that we were like, well, if the Eagles just lose at Buffalo, or they could split these Commanders games, it makes those conversations that we were having pretty hilarious when you look back on it. I mean, nothing about the way the Cowboys finished the season, not just on Sunday against the Giants, but over the course of the last month and change, was promising or impressive or gave hope towards the future. All of those good things withered and dissipated as they collapsed and the season folded around them again through the Christmas holiday. It was just a really, really tough scene. On YouTube, excuse me, I've been a little bit sick. I say a little bit sick. That's a lie. I've been really sick. It's been about a week now. It's just kind of been infiltrating my house. You all know how it can be this time of year, colds and whatnot, but I am feeling better. So thank you to everyone who has been offering their points of encouragement with regards to my health. On YouTube, Steven says, UFA, I would bring in Kobe Bryant, Quincy Williams, and Travis Etienne to pair with Javonte. We'll see about Quincy Williams. It feels like the Cowboys have an advantage there, obviously. But all of that remains to be seen. Obviously, we have to see what the Cowboys do in terms of bringing back their own, which, again, is going to tell us, like, here's the thing. Let's play out the next few weeks. All right. Let's hypothetical, or let's forecast the next few weeks of Dallas Cowboys activity. Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones will do their respective media tours, and they will tell us how 2025 was disappointing. They will establish a fall guy. They will say that it's unacceptable, that they're trying really hard, that they face their own consequences and ramifications and points of responsibility for this whole drought, but that roster construction and football improvement for them is a 24/7, 365 operation. All these empty words will be all over the place. They'll be all over the news, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What we care about, what we need to see from them, again, and let's talk about through the Super Bowl, is we need to see an improvement to the coaching staff. We need to see a commitment to something, even if that something is Brian Schottenheimer. You have to give Brian Schottenheimer full autonomy. You have to give somebody, anybody, literally any human being who is not a bloodline member of the Jones family some level of autonomy. Not some level. Actually, I'm already coping. You have to give them full autonomy. You have to let somebody other than yourselves make some serious decisions about what this football team, not this brand, but what this football team is going to look like in the future. And if they don't do that, if they just commit to the same things, if they just run in place, if they do their typical Jones games all over again, it will be more of the same. And I'm not saying that to be Debbie Downer or to be negative or to just rain on the parade or whatever the case may be, but we've all lived this. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. We all know the song and dance. We all know how they're going to do something and then hype it up and then gaslight us into thinking something is what it isn't and then profit. That's the song. That's the dance. That's the way this goes. So be prepared, be forewarned. Demand more. That is what we should be doing as Dallas Cowboys fans. On YouTube, there's some argument happening about Dak Prescott. I agree that it was not a great day for Dak. I agree that it was not a great day for the offense. I don't know what else we can add. Let's see here. Making sure I'm not missing anything. All good. Yep, all good. So on YouTube, Shane says roster improvement our priority unless Jerry Jones is wildcatting on a yacht somewhere. LOL. I agree. I mean, look, I think that some people say things sometimes that are like, oh, it's been nothing but this for 30 years. I don't agree with that. I don't fully, buy that. But I mean, I think, look, we're all really tired. We're all really tired of the same thing. We're all tired of trying to pretend something is what it isn't. And we're all tired of having lowered our standards, right? Like it's really frustrating to look at Cowboys leadership, at the Cowboys front office and say, we aren't expecting you to be the Eagles, right? Like it's real. Like think about that. That is actually a place that we've reached where we're saying we don't need you to get an A+, right? We just need you to pass the class. Like think about that's the bartering that we've had to make with them, and they still Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones have still said, I don't know about that. I mean I really don't know. I let's maybe maybe, and if we don't, it's your fault. It's like we have lowered our standards so much. The bar is on the ground, and they still not only can't clear, but don't want to clear it. They have no interest in clearing it if it involves any semblance of work on their part. That's the really frustrating thing. Apologies again, fighting this cough, fighting this this illness. It is what it is. Jose says Archie caldo de pollo with lots of hot sauce. I've had some caldo this week. I've had some soup. I've had a lot of things. I mean, I've had all sorts of teas and juices and whatnot. It's just a really, really an intense little cold. I don't know what it is about it. Loft says with the 20s pick, I'm fine with them picking up an offensive tackle and Proctor set him up on that route. We'll see. I mean, I agree with that, but I also feel frustrated that their plan along the offensive line is still not fully set. Now, I don't, I'm not a believer in a sunk cost fallacy, but it is frustrating that they've been throwing first round picks at this and that they're still having to, they're having to move Tyler Guyton, move Tyler Smith, maybe throw another first round pick at the position group, right? Like it's just, it's an annoying thing. I wish that things were different. I know that that's a very, very common sentiment at this point, but it's a frustrating thing that they still haven't figured that out. Let's see here. Sear says the last playoff butt kicking upset me. This franchise is not going to be successful. I mean, like, I don't know, man. I thought I had, Saturday night, the Seattle Seahawks won and clinched the NFC West and earned the number 1 seed in the NFC. And there was all sorts of discussion, obviously, on the internet amongst Cowboys fans about how DeMarcus Lawrence is a part of that team. And DeMarcus Lawrence, I think, was an underappreciated player for the Cowboys, was very good for the Cowboys. I think it was the right call for them to move on, although trading away Micah Parsons changed that calculus. So I think that that's understood. And I also think that DeMarcus Lawrence's words on his way out upset people in a way that, the toothpaste is never going to be back in the 2%. But I bring all that up to say the Seahawks are the number 1 seed in the NFC. And they have never, as a franchise, been the number 1 seed without at least reaching the Super Bowl. Now, the reason I find that to be relevant, and I know I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but the Seahawks could go to the Super Bowl this year, right? Like, let's just live in that hypothetical for a second. If the Seahawks reach the Super Bowl this year, they will do so with a completely different head coach and a completely different quarterback than they had the last time they went to the Super Bowl, which obviously was a group, a tandem, a duo that went to multiple Super Bowls together. And even prior to that, I'm talking about the 2014 Seahawks that lost the Malcolm Butler game, but the year before they won when they beat the Broncos and whatnot. And I mean, the year they won was 2013. 8 years before that, in 2005, they went to an entirely different Super Bowl with an entirely different duo at quarterback and head coach in Mike Holmgren and Matt Hasselbeck. And so I bring all that up to say is like, we're talking about teams and franchises that have now reached multiple different, whether it's NFC Championship or AFC Championship games and Super Bowls with different, like they have completely reset their roster and their franchise and their front office multiple times over. And they are still doing this. I mean, they are lapping the Dallas Cowboys, not just once in this capacity, but multiple times over. It's an amazing phenomenon to watch unfold. It's difficult to process and frustrating, and nothing that I'm saying is making any of that better, but holy crap, how does this keep happening? I mean, it's Sear says, I'm happy for Lawrence. I hope he gets a ring. I agree. I mean, I've got no ill will towards DeMarcus Lawrence. I don't think anybody's wrong for feeling any sort of way. Again, I understand his words were difficult back when he initially signed with Seattle. So that just is what it is. Apologies for taking us on a tangent there. But this just, I mean, like my ultimate sort of thing is, again, this season was, you know, not really fun for the Dallas Cowboys. I think we all understand that. I think we all agree the Cowboys winning 3 games in a row was a great thing and was a fun thing, and we enjoyed it, and it included Thanksgiving, which, you know, amplifies some of the joy involved because it's a holiday and whatnot. And it started our holiday season off, you know, on that high. But I mean, this has just it being a Dallas Cowboys fan just feels like work. I mean, it really does. It doesn't feel like there's a back and forth relationship here. It feels like we're just giving and giving and giving, and nothing is being given to us in return. Right? Like and I'm not even talking financially. We're investing all this energy and giving, and forget energy. We're giving all this benefit of the doubt. We're giving all this belief, all this unearned trust just for them to fold and collapse and self-sabotage. I mean, you know, it's a really toxic sort of thing. And I understand why people are frustrated. I mean, we're talking about, it's now been 30 seasons officially without that give back. And so that's a hard thing to get up off the mat for, you know, for a 31st time in a row. And I mean, look, I am happy that, you know, we have a chance to kind of let things chill, right? I think we all, like, you know, you ever, I'm sure this has happened to all of us. You ever have been in an argument and it's just going nowhere, right? Like you and the person you're debating with or arguing with or fighting with or whatever, you're just saying the same things, right? You're saying the same points and they're saying the same points, and you're not agreeing with one another, and you're just going over and over and over and over again, back and forth, no progress made. And you just take a break, Ross and Rachel style, however you feel that ultimately went. And you just let yourself calm down. You just let yourself relax, take a few deep breaths, and ultimately come back. And maybe you still don't agree, but I think you're able to maybe not meet in the middle, but you're able to, you know, come to some resolution that was not necessarily possible when you were, you know, at your most intense state. And I think that's where we're at with the Cowboys. I think that we just, you know, need to walk away. And whether you want to like walk away as a fan, whatever, I don't mean it that way, but I just like, we need some time. We need some time to just, you know, just let it be. We just need some time to, you know, let this marinate. We need some time to let this all chill and process, and enough time to pass for us to be able to lie to ourselves again in the future, right? Like, we're going to do it. We all know we are. Let's be honest with ourselves. That's the true honesty, right? But we're all going to lie to ourselves and pretend that it's better and it's fixed and it's going to work out and whatever the case may be. And we just need a little bit of time to get back to a place of being able to do that. It's, you know, that's life when you're a Dallas Cowboys fan these days. On YouTube, Jose says, RG, do you think DeMarcus Lawrence will compass a 4th? I think it'll be a 5th. I think that's what they're counting on. We'll see. And Shane says, you would think the Cowboys would fluke their way to an NFC title game once in 30 years. That has not happened. It's I agree. You would think it would happen, but you would think a lot of things at this point in time. Boyd on Bleacher Report says, I believe Jerry Jones truly wants a Super Bowl. I also truly believe he doesn't have a clue as to how to accomplish it. I'll close with this. Like, people say things like, "Oh, the Cowboys are incompetent or they're dumb or whatever." I'm way past any of those words. I think that those words, and I've said this before in the past, I think that's giving them a pass. I think, like a lot of people, that the Cowboys want to win a Super Bowl. I think a popular take is Jerry wants to win a Super Bowl. He wants to do it his way. That's the like intense way people verbalize it. I think that the Cowboys want to win a Super Bowl if it's convenient, if it's within reach, right? You know how sometimes you will come up with the most crafty ways to reach the remote control when it's on the couch and it's just out of your arm's reach. You know, you'll use the pillow as an extender and kind of drag it towards you or something like that. Like you will literally get as creative and do as much work possible so that you can stay being lazy. And I think that's how the Dallas Cowboys operate. I think they want to win a Super Bowl, and I think they will do a ton of work in the name of accomplishing it with regards to not having to actually do legitimate work. They'll do a lot of work to continue to just stay on the couch. They'll move that couch cushion, they'll drag, they'll just stretch their arm out all the way, and they'll get it, they'll get it, they'll get it. But you ask them to get up off the couch, you ask them to stand up and walk over to where the remote is located. No, no way. Not worth their time, not worth their effort. Maybe they'll reach the cushion across to get it. And, you know, if not for that, you're stuck watching what's on the channel. But I can promise you that what's on the channel is them. That's what they're counting on. You watching, you experiencing, you absorbing, you consuming, and that's all that matters so that they don't have to get off the couch. Let's see here. Kenny says, ever since Jerry claimed was all in, it's gotten worse. The all in thing was very frustrating because it just led to all this. Wanderon says, I love you, RJ Ochoa. I'm going to miss these post-game shows. I look forward to them. I love you too, Wanderon. Again, not going anywhere. There will be live shows, live videos throughout the weeks. Every week, there will be maybe not daily, but there will be lots of content, lots of videos popping on the Blog of the Boys YouTube channel. So if you haven't yet, please subscribe there. Like the video, tell a friend. Things coming out, videos with me, interviews with people, all sorts of fun stuff. Obviously, we have a lot to fix, and we'll work on that together. And obviously, I'll be all over my social profiles. The links to all of them are down in the description below. To our Bleacher Report family, I love doing these post-game shows and them working on the Bleacher Report app as well. A big thank you, a big shout out to the folks at Bleacher Report for the partnership that they've had with me for the last couple of years. I really do appreciate it. Any videos and live shows across the offseason will there may be a draft thing we do with Bleacher Report. Sometimes we've done that in the past, but for the most part, they will exclusively be on the Blog on the Boys YouTube channel. So if you're a Bleacher Report person and you like this stuff, that thank you from the bottom of my heart. But please head on over there, like the video, or follow me on social so you get what you need. I will say, as we kind of wrap here, I say this all the time. When I was in high school, I was obsessed with the Dallas Cowboys, and I had no outlet for that. There was, no place to just kind of put that energy. There was no, just like place I could do a podcast or a show or a video or write an article or post clips on social media. That did not exist. And I am as mad at this team as you are, right? I want this team to be different in so many different ways. But as another Dallas Cowboys season is wrapped, and I'm so fortunate and grateful to God to have the job that I do and have the outlets and the resources that I do to do these different things, I'm just so thankful. Thank you to each and every single one of you who watched any video, who watched any clip, who retweeted a tweet, liked a tweet, read an article of mine, whatever you did across this Dallas Cowboys season. If you disagreed with me, if you agreed with every single word I said, thank you so much. Time is the most precious resource that we have in this life, and thank you for giving me some of it. I don't take that lightly. I feel entrusted with your time, and I want to make sure that it's cared for. I want to make sure it's worth it for you. So thank you. The season is over. We will have a lot to do. I'm not going anywhere. The internet's not going anywhere. We're going to be together, obviously, as the off season goes on. But from the bottom of my heart, to you and to yours, thank you so much for being a part of the 2025 Dallas Cowboys season with me. It was not a lot of fun, but it was because we got to share it together. So thank you for your time. We're going to have some stuff to talk about, I would imagine, in the coming days. So there will probably be live shows. As an example, if the Cowboys were to make a move at defensive coordinator, we'll have a live show on the Blog on the Boys YouTube channel, that kind of stuff, obviously. So be ready for that. Lots of articles. I've already got like 10 articles ready to go out at blogontheboys.com. So be ready. Like I said at the top, a happy new year. God bless all of you in this coming year, you, your friends, your families. And let's see what these hooligans get up to sooner rather than later. So thanks everybody for hanging out. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and best of luck if you're heading back to work on Monday, and get some caldo yourselves. I'll try to get some and feel even better. Thanks so much, everybody, for hanging out, and we will see you next time.